Championship. 4 bowlers, including 2 Hall of Famers, go for the $100,000 top prize and the 4-season exemption. Now all 4 are ready to roll.
He's a PBA Hall of Famer with 32 career Denny's PBA Tour titles. Today he'll try to win his 8th career major. From St. Anne, Missouri, Pete Weber.
PDW is back, looking for his 2nd title of the season. The most fierce competitor the Tour has ever known. Today he looks to win his 8th major and 3rd in this building.
He's looking to become the 18th player in Tour history to win a major as his first career title. Today marks his 3rd TV appearance of the season. From Lockport, New York, Brad Angelo.
Bad Brad was pushed to the limits this week as 3 of his 4 matches went the distance. Today he looks to become the 18th player in league history to win his first title in a major championship.
A 4-time titleist looking for his first career major title. Today marks his 2nd TV appearance in a major this season. From Elmira, New York, Ryan Shafer.
A 2nd place finish in this year's U.S. Open left a bad taste in Ryan's mouth. Today the Bulldog looks to maul his way to victory and capture his first ever major championship.
This 40-time titleist is looking to the Earl Anthony's all-time Denny's PBA Tour titles record. He's making his 3rd consecutive TV appearance from Florida. Woodland.
The quest continues for Walter Ray as he tries yet again to tie Earl Anthony's title record. This is his 7th attempt at bowling's Holy Grail. Will 7 be Walter Ray's lucky number?
These are your finalists competing for the title in the 2006 Denny's World Championship.
Indianapolis hosts the PBA event for the 28th time, the 23rd time. And there is a bowler who's won 2 majors in this very building. His name, Pete Weber. Hello and welcome to Indy. 3rd major of the season. It's time, bowling fans. Dave Ryan, Randy Peterson alongside. Thoughts from Erica Herskowitz, lane level, in a moment. Well, this guy has bowled well in a major for the 2nd straight time. You had a great U.S. Open in New Jersey last month, and you got yourself to the round of 16, lost in 7. Good match to Brad Angelo this week.
Yeah, it was a grueling week, but a lot of fun, and I'm just thankful that I don't have a Randy Peterson bobblehead doll because Brad would have ripped my head off. But I had Brad down 3-2. He's a great bowler. He came back, knocked me out. Brad makes the show. But for me, I've had great success here at Woodland Bowl. I won here in '99, made the show the following year, and it's always really nice to be able to come back to a center that you've had success and bowl well. A lot of fun for me this week.
Great week for you, partner. Congratulations. Well, Brad and Randy, 2 of 182 bowlers in a very grueling field here at the Denny's World Championship. The top 4 in points to this stage of the season got a ticket to the round of Super 16, bypassing all qualifying, but that didn't help any of the 4 make the show. Others had to get through 27 games of qualifying. The top 4 from that group, including Pete Weber, made the round of Super 16. The rest went the way of the round of 32 match play, had to make it through 4 rounds of match play to get to TV, so when the dust settled, 4 bowlers remain. We have interesting storylines today. Ryan Schafer looks for his first ever major. Brad Angelo looks for his first ever title. Walter Ray and Pete go from major history today. How do you best evaluate the season of those 2 Hall of Famers?
Well, Pete and Walter Ray have had nice years. Not great years by their standards, but nice years. Pete Weber over $106,000 in earnings. He won in Indiana earlier in the season. I think his ball rotation is perfect for this week's oil pattern because he can create a lot of back-end reaction, which I think was a necessary to get your ball to strike a lot. Walter Ray, yet to win this season. However, he's 3rd in average, 10th on the money list. This is his 3rd straight telecast. Still trying to tie Earl's record of 41 titles. He won this event in '01 and in '03. And keep one thing in mind, the last time Walter Ray did not win a title in a season, 1992.
It's been a long time. Let's check in with the brackets. First ever TV head-to-head meeting with Pete Weber and Brad Angelo. Walter Ray 1-2 live title against Ryan Schafer on TV. First two semifinalists join lane level now by Erica Herskowitz.
All right, Dave. Well, Brad, 11 tries on TV. You're still searching for your first title. What are you going to have to do today to win?
Well, I think I've been a little nervous and let my emotions get the best of me the last 10 times. I'm just going to try to enjoy it this time and just allow the emotions to flow, see where it goes.
Thanks. Pete, you've already won 2 major titles in this building in the early 90s. What does that mean to you?
Well, it means that I have 2 major titles in this house, and I'm going to make it 3 today.
Thank you. Dave, back to you.
Oh, my, Erica. Game on here. We've got a little guarantee from PDW, and how about the bobblehead ripoff we saw from Brad Angelo? He said he might do it, and he did. On the line today, $100,000 and a 4-season tour exemption. Pete Weber told us before the show today how much winning a major means to him. For Brad Angelo, big struggles on TV. Hasn't won a title yet. From just outside Buffalo, second ever major TV show for Brad Angelo underway, and that's a light hit. Look out. Not what he wanted to start the day here, Randy, the 1-2.
Yeah, we're going to call that the slide and glide this week. You get it too far right, and it hits a big oil patch down the lane. And there's beautiful Michelle, Brad's wife.
Making a trip from Buffalo and saying hi to the kids at home. It was not easy to leave Dylan and Brielle. They're watching with Grandma and Grandpa in Lockport at the Angelo's new home. And Mom tells us to tell the kids she'll be home soon. Don't worry. Brad covers nicely and has a mark.
Brad wore the same shirt all throughout match play. He went 7 games with Chris Barnes, 7 games with me, 7 games with Tommy Jones. And in his last match against Mike Machuga, he beats Mike Machuga in Game 5, 289-280. Thought about wearing that same shirt today.
As always, Tracy is here, root on Pete, who has a 10-pin for his first shot of the day.
All right.
Second out of qualifying, got himself to the round of Super 16 because of it. Brilliant career. Pete Weber continues. Able to win Hammond, Indiana. He is exempt, coming back from what was a very difficult year for him with the passing of his father, Dick. Ace Hardware matchup. Well, Pete Weber with all those career titles, 32 of them. Brad looks for his first ever. Who rises to the top today?
Pete's got all the major championship experience. Brad's never won. Advantage has to go to Pete Weber, but Brad's got something to say about that. Brad was awfully tough this week.
Fourth on the all-time list in career wins. 32 victories for W. Crunches all 10 down into the pit. Pete tries for his 8th career major title today. That would tie Earl Anthony's record. Of course, Walter Ray goes for number 41. Career victory later on today in the second semifinal with Ryan Schafer. If he can get through Ryan and the winner of this match, he wins his 41st and ties Earl Anthony's mark. Brad looks for some history too. Better shot.
You saw that graphic. Brad trying to become the 18th player to win a major as his first title. Last person to do that, Brian Smith. A couple of years back, he won the Masters.
2003 in Reno for Brian Smith out of Oregon. Bowlers like Robert Smith, Mika Kodemi, Rick Steele-Smith have also had their first title be a major. Hence, Major Mika, his first 2 major championships.
Walter Ray was on that show that Brian Smith won.
Angelo, very deliberate approach to the foul line. Ring in 10 for Brad Angelo. What are your thoughts on his approach, how slowly he gets himself to the line?
Well, it works for him, you know. It's all about being in sync and repeating. And Brad has that little stutter step. You see the 6 goes around the 10. We like to call that the ringing 10, as opposed to the 6-pin laying in the gutter. That'd be a weak 10.
Not great numbers on the single pin conversions. It's pretty rare to see that many misses, but a lot of games, of course, bowled here. 50 plus for some to get through all the rounds of qualifying we documented for you at the top of the broadcast.
Yeah, but keep in mind, though, that sometimes a player is beaten in a match or he has won the match. In the 10th frame, his fill shot, he leaves the ring in 10. Instead of shooting it, he tries a different ball and different strike line to give himself another look as the matches progress.
Pete's got a lot of family and friends here today. Last late help. 4-7 down and a strike for PDW. He looks for a 33rd career title. So his road. The TV show, second qualifying with a great 223 plus average. So that put him into the Super 16 round as we talked about. There's also a round of 16. That's where Randy lost to Brad Angelo in 7. A lot of bowling for these guys to get this far.
A lot of bowling. A lot of sore hands this week.
Pete said his fingers feel great. You see that white glove he uses, but the thumb is very sore. Not protected by the glove. And a big strike. Pete loves it.
And that's just what you want to do to a guy who's never won before. You see the flawless form of Pete Weber. In my opinion, I don't think I've ever seen a better talent physically to ever throw a bowling ball in the PBA Tour. Just phenomenal game. It just looks effortless. His release, the rotation he can put on the bowling ball. I like to call it efficiency of motion.
So smooth, isn't it?
It is.
Textbook delivery. Angelo tries to answer the turkey from Pete, and he has another strike. 36-year-old from just outside Buffalo, 10th in the PBA rankings this year, and helped himself up the ranking ladder. Some nice points accumulated by Brad with a good event here. Round of Super 16 knocked out Tommy Jones in 7 after Barnes and our Randy Peterson went down in 7 games. Mike Machuga, good match, although it was 5, and big comeback earlier for Angelo.
Yeah, I mean, look at that list. There's no slouches there, except for me.
Come on now.
I gave him
well.
I gave him all he wanted.
Looks for the double. Good frame.
Look out. Whoa!
Late help. We'll have it.
Well, Pete got one. Brad said right back at you. I get a trip for myself. See how deep Brad Angelo is already playing this pattern, and that's what we did this week. As the lanes broke down, we started really straight at about second arrow. I think Brad wants that trip for. Oh, yeah. I'm still in this. Started pretty straight around second arrow, and then just migrated left from there. Walter Ray on the other end found a way to stay pretty straight from that second arrow.
Chance for a 20-pin lead. Four-bagger, 5th frame for Pete. Double wood left.
That ball pretty good.
He liked it. You can see the back end of the 41-foot pattern when it grabbed the
This is ought to be fun.
resistance there. Didn't quite jet into the 1-3 pocket as he had hoped.
And when he says this ought to be fun, he's referring to attempting to make the 2-8.
Pin number is perfect so far. Does cover. Just wants to stay clean, doesn't he?
50.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what Pete does the next time he's up on the right lane, because when a player throws the ball and he thinks it's really, really good and it goes 2-8, that could really mess you up the next time you're over on that lane. The tendency is to grab it and try to make it hook more into the pocket. And when you do that, you run the risk of splitting.
6th frame for Pete. Has all 10 down. 60 feet to success. Pete Weber, who told us before the match today that yes, he's won the 2 majors, as he and Erica discussed. He's also won 3 regional titles in this house. Very familiar with Woodland Bowl. And as you can see, feeling pretty confident. First semifinal, 2006 Denny's World Championship underway from Indy. More on the way. Stay with us.
Cooking now. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. By Jackson Hewitt Tax Service. This year, let the tax experts at Jackson Hewitt help you get the biggest refund you deserve. By bowlersparadise.com, the official online retailer of the Professional Bowlers Association. Log on today and win a free ball.
Beautiful, sunny, but cool day in Indy. Final Four City. Men's basketball Final Four coming up. Here are great Final Four in Indianapolis. First semifinal is underway. 8-pin difference, Angelo and Weber. Let's check out the oil pattern special, Randy, 41 feet for the World Championship.
Yeah, it was special, especially tough in the beginning anyway, until the lanes broke down. Walter Ray did this week what he does best. He's going to play pretty straight right around the second arrow. That's his bread and butter. Ryan Schafer said that the straighter he can go today, the better his carry is. Look for him to play fairly close to Walter Ray. Pete and Brad Angelo, they're going to be playing in, throwing to that same spot down the lane.
Folks, in my mind, this is the most important shot we'll see in this match. Here's why. Brad Angelo has struggled mightily out of commercial breaks. Traditionally, he's had big trouble. He's had splits. He's been way high or way light. The first shot out of the break. Told us last night, I'm going to concentrate on a first shot out of the commercial break that is effective. Maybe, if he can strike here, have a good shot at least, it could propel him to real greatness. We'll see. Got a strike.
Nicely done. It's a great shot he threw out of the break, like you said, Dave. And, you know, obviously his focus is in a different direction, at least in this match, than it has been the last few times he's been on television, because you're right, he has struggled coming out of the breaks, and he's made some errant shots, and right now he leads by 2 pins, 6th frame.
Last time on TV, December in Hammond, Indiana, event eventually won by Pete. Lost to Ryan Schafer in the semis. Also made the Japan Cup TV show. That's way high and has the split to deal with here.
Ball speed was an issue this week. If you got too fast going right with it like Brad's doing here, the ball had a tendency to shoot on you. So you wanted to make sure you didn't overthrow it. That, to me, looked like Brad got a little soft with his speed. The ball just overhooked. 3-10.
Split numbers. 11th career TV appearance for Brad. He's 3-10 lifetime. It's been a struggle, but does nail the difficult split. That's a big shot. Has to be for his confidence. On TV, he has just collapsed at times.
And you talked about that, you know, out of the break, the big shot for Brad. I think this is the biggest shot for Pete. Remember, the last time he was on this right lane, he left a 2-8 and thought he threw it perfect.
Same leave. Double wood 2-8.
Wow.
This is what I can tell you from my experience this week. I had Brad down 3-2, just coming off a 277 game. I hit the pocket the first 4 balls in a row, game 6, and all of a sudden, I'm using the same exact ball Pete is, and I had the same exact thing happen to me. All of a sudden, my ball starts to push just a little bit longer. The only difference, I was leaving 2-8-10s, Petey just leaving a 2-8.
Wow, we are all even here. A rarity on a Denny's PBA Tour TV show this late in a game. Single game match format, of course, semifinals. Ryan Schafer, Walter Ray Williams Jr. to follow. As Walter Ray, for a 3rd straight show, continues the quest to tie Earl's title record. Big shot for Pete here. 8th frame. Has all 10 down. Likes that lane a lot, doesn't he? Tracy knows that was a big shot.
Yep. Pete can strike out to shoot 248. Brad Angelo can strike out to shoot 248. The good news for Pete, he gets to finish on the left lane.
Brad told us memories of watching major TV shows go back to the
Finest time to see happen. There you go. You see the same thing that happening to Brad on that same lane. That is caused by carry down, by the oil pushing down the lane, and all of a sudden when they get the ball to that same spot, it starts to push just a little bit too far down the lane. Watch this. Ball's going to get down to the break point. Look at that dark board right there at the 10 board. Right there is it's supposed to come off of that and start going left. Instead, it pushes another 6 to 8 inches or so and makes the ball come in late.
with his spare ball. Takes care of the mark. He said he remembers watching Wayne Webb win a major championship. That's something that He would love to repeat so much to win his first ever title and have it be a major here today in Indy.
Let's take a look at the two releases of Pete Weber and Brad Angelo. Pete on the left, Brad on the right. Watch what their hands do. Now, Pete is actually trying to roll it more. You see where his hand's on the side? Brad, a little more of a spin. Pete, a little more of a rolling type of rotation. Even though he does get on the side of it as good as anyone.
One-pin match. Comes in high. Almost had a split. Ends up just with a 6-pin. Could have been a lot worse. Flirting with disaster there. It was awfully close. 2003 PBA Rookie of the Year. He's had a nice season. 10th in the rankings. Certain to be exempt. But as he told us last night, Randy, nothing would compare to the feeling of leaving a bowling center, holding that trophy, and being able to cash that huge check, in this case, $100,000.
And he's not going to be able to do it if Pete goes strike, 9 spare, strike. Pete will shoot 227. Brad Angelo, the best he can do is 226. Pete has failed to strike the last 2 times on this right lane and only once in the whole match.
They go up by 12 pins. 4 pin.
Light high, light high.
But Pete, you know what? He made the right decision to finish on the left lane. Spare here, a double 9, he wins. And this is what happens. Okay, you go light, light. Now what Pete's trying to do is to get that ball to flip up a little bit harder, but you run the risk of going high and leaving big splits. Now he's on his good lane. He's been striking every ball in this lane. Get up and just do what he's done the last 4 times on the left lane to close out Brad Angelo.
This legend is 2nd all-time behind Walter Ray in career earnings, 4th all-time in titles. That's what he needs. 3rd all-time in TV appearances. He has been here before. Big shot. Perfect. Wife Tracy is here, right behind Tracy. Their daughters, Nicole, Ashley Marie, stepson Troy of Pete is here too.
Pete Weber, perfect 5 of 5 on the left lane.
Caught! Yeah! Come on!
6 for 6.
Money in the bank for Pete, who told Erica lane level before this match he was going to win this tournament. Now he's just dying to make the final. Wired for sound, and that was a huge shot.
Come on, come on.
Winner.
The winner, I get the ball. Yeah, right here in Indy.
Twice, Pete Weber has won majors in this bowling center. He is 1 game away from a 3rd major championship
for this day
here at Woodland Bowl. And the difficult wait will continue for Brad Angelo. Still continues the quest for a first ever Denny's PBA Tour title. Pete is a game away from tying Earl Anthony's all-time major title record. It could happen today. And can you imagine if it comes against Walter Ray Williams Jr., who looks for his 41st title to tie Earl's record as well? That would be incredible. Ryan Schafer has something to say about that, though. Outstanding week for Brad Angelo. Will come to an end.
2 balls, right? Give me the 2 balls.
These guys are having some fun. The match is over. How about a trick shot? Think Brad's game?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I think he is.
For crying out loud.
I love it.
All right.
He's going to go for the 2 ball 7-10. Is this a skill challenge shot or what? Oh, this is classic. Are they going to cross in time? Oh! Oh, he almost did it. And the fans were on the edge
never hook when they're supposed to, do they?
of their seats. That's just hilarious.
There you go, Brad.
Thank you. You got to give Brad Angelo credit. In a tough moment, he has a good time. Pete Weber advances to the final. It's either going to be Walter Ray or Schaefer he faces.
Tommy Jones, take 3.
Coming up, Randy heads down to Simpsonville, South Carolina for an all-access tour of the home of PBA superstar Tommy Jones. Pete Weber is to the final to take on either Shafer or Walter Ray Williams Jr. Pete and Walter Ray, 2 of 6 exempt bowlers who have at least 1 title here. Pete and Walter have won 2 titles in this building. Eric Herskowitz joined now by the other semifinalists, Shafer and Williams.
Ryan, you made it to the finals in 2 straight majors and finishing second in the U.S. Open. What are you going to have to do differently today to get it done?
I'm going to have Walter Ray throw a lower score. I bowled a pretty good game against Tommy Jones at the U.S. Open. I have no regrets about that. Tommy just had a higher score. I didn't get the right result, so we'll look for a different result today.
Thanks. Walter Ray, we heard you say last week you were unhappy with the ball reaction during your practice session. How does it look today?
Well, last week during practice, I think I played him wrong, but I think today I've got a little better reaction, see what happens, make some good shots, and hopefully those pins cooperate, and see if I can bowl Mr. Weber for the title.
Thanks. Randy, you saw the guys practicing today. How do you think Walter Ray's shot looks?
Well, it looked okay, but his last couple of shots in practice prior to your interview, he left a 2-pin on the right lane, and his last ball on the left lane left a pocket 7-10.
Checking on the cut line while we have a moment. Paul Fleming, number 37, stands right there. Dale Traber on the outside looking in right now, along with Chris Johnson, former Rookie of the Year. Because Tom Baker is exempt after winning the World Championship, we talked about top of the broadcast. He doesn't count on that list. Same goes for Danny Wiseman. He is exempt after winning the Masters to begin last season in Milwaukee. And Tony Reyes also on the outside, but he is exempt after the final frame victory over the Christmas holiday. Schaefer starts his day in style from Elmira, New York, upstate, not far from the Binghamton area, south of Syracuse.
And Walter Ray, the higher seed, chooses to let Ryan start the match, which allows Walter Ray to finish on the left lane. And again, I think the right lane is an issue.
With Page watching. 10-pin for Walter Ray. Right, 3rd straight TV show. That includes a time spent in the off week where Randy and Tommy Jones are having a good time. I don't know about that golf score, what happened that day, but the 17th time in Walter Ray's great career, a hat trick, 3 straight shows.
It's amazing.
It is
an amazing career. 152 or 3 shows, 53 shows. And I know he's got a couple of doubles shows in there. And he's just been so good for so long. You know, it didn't matter what the surface was, whether it was wood or synthetic. He's gone through 3 generations of equipment, meaning, you know, the urethane ball, the reactive resin, and now particle bowling balls that we use from time to time on the tour. Formats, just doesn't matter.
Carry. Oh, it sure did carry Walter. He's won the 6 majors. Too shy of Earl's record. He is tied for 3rd right now with Mike Albee with the 6 major wins. By himself, could Walter Ray, as we look at the ace matchup, 3rd place all-time in major championships won with a victory today. Schaefer looks for his first ever major.
Yeah, and of course everyone's going to, you know, think that Walter Ray is the odds-on favorite, but Ryan Schaefer, I nicknamed him the Bulldog because this kid is tough as nails. He finished 2nd at this year's U.S. Open, and you should never take this guy lightly.
20th year on tour for the 4-time titleist.
What a great shot here. He throws on the right lane, and quite honestly, this is not a bad sign. Ringing 10 on the right lane where the other guys were coming in light, having trouble getting their ball to face up. But Ryan also said, the straighter I can go, Randy, the better my pin carry is going to be. Well, he's going pretty straight.
Look down at the approach. Little footwork issue. He told us he was glad to perform well in the U.S. Open last month, make the finals, lost, of course, to Tommy Jones. We see his road round of 32 over Wallace and 7. All the bowlers, all 4 he got through in match play, Randy, not exempt.
It's unusual. That doesn't happen a whole lot, but you can see the talent pool this week. Obviously a larger field. A lot more players that are capable of getting it done.
A hurry, and does not. It goes light. And he's got the 210. Didn't like it at all.
Just absolutely terrible.
Just a bad shot. Gets it too far to the right. Remember, he talked about going straight. We saw a lot of this week, guys leaving the 210s. Ryan, I'm sure, left a bunch. Get the ball over here, left of the 2-pin, throw it over into the 10.
Might want to consult the Sean Rash book on how to convert the 210 on TV. Remember that in West Virginia a few weeks back? That was amazing. And look at that, he whiffs cleanly. And an open frame for Ryan Schafer. That hurts to miss both pins in terms of count later on in this match.
Well, let's see if Walter Ray can strike on this right lane. Because if he can, left lane looks pretty good. He chose to finish on that lane. Could be big trouble for Ryan Schafer. Uh-oh.
Boy, does he look good. Great start for Walter Ray. See his road to the World Championship show. Qualified 5th. Then Baker, Parker Bone III, a Hall of Famer. Devaney, who's had a great season. And Rick Steelsmith, who's won a major. All went down, all in 5 games. What a pattern there, huh?
Yeah, he got some breaks against Steelsmith, but look at that list. Devaney's 5th or 6th on the point list this season. Tom Baker, a former winner of this event.
Can he stay hot? You bet. Blitzes the rack. Shrapnel everywhere, Randy. Great start, front 4.
Oh, this is just 10 back. Watch this. Bang. Oh. Walter Ray, interestingly enough, went back to 16 pounds after the Dick Weber Classic in Orange County, say in January. He's throwing 16 pounds again. Said, Randy, I was leaving too many 810s with the 15-pounder.
January 10th to the 15th, that event took place in Southern California. Big hole here for Schafer after the open frame. He does strike to crawl his way back out, but it will not be easy for Ryan. Look at that. Runner-up 3 times, 3rd 4 times in majors. That is hard to believe. He's also had a total of 8 top 5 finishes at majors. That's 2nd ever behind Dick Weber's 10 in tour history. So he certainly has performed well, but not climbing to the very top of the mountain just yet. Five goes down late for Ryan Schafer.
And for Ryan Schafer, it's all about the 4-year exemption. Winning this tournament, he said his sponsor, Jeff Mraz, would love the money. Ryan would love the 4-year exemption.
Walter Ray goes for the front 5.
Wow.
That was almost a disastrous split, which has happened so often to him on TV of late.
That's the shot that we've seen Walter Ray throw more so than ever this season. You know, Walter Ray is a shot maker, and he prides himself on being very accurate. And I don't think I can remember the last time that I've seen Walter Ray pull more shots than this season.
So in a bid for the front 5, a spare there. Look at the career majors. 2 U.S. Opens, 2 World Championships. His last came a Masters in 04. And 1 TPC as well. 6 in all. Oh, how about that 4? Wow. How didn't it fall? It looked like it was teetering there and somehow stands.
Just a little aggressive, just a little firm. The 4-pin gets hit twice and doesn't go down, but an easy spare. Walter Ray remains clean. However, Ryan Schafer is working on a double.
Denny, the world-class horseshoe pitcher, Has his own brand of horseshoe. Because he's so accurate in that sport, he rarely misses spares. I don't think I've seen one single pin spare miss in 4+ years of covering this tour from Walter Ray. Incredibly accurate. Great matchup here in the semis. Pete Weber awaits the winner.
The Denny's World Championship is brought to you by Denny's. We're cooking now. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by Motel 6, the official lodging partner of the PBA. For the lowest price of any national chain, go to motel6.com.
Pete Weber, one of the first 2 majors held in this bowling center, the 91 BPAA and the 92 TPC. He goes for a third here today. He's in the final to take on the winner of this match, Schaefer and Walter Ray. Williams Jr. leads us to our Dexter approach, Randy, for this week.
A short player and a tall player in 2 unusual styles. Ryan Schaefer, 5-step approach. So that level backswing, but look at this. Look how he stands kind of straight up and down at the foul line. Because he's a shorter player, he can get away with that. Again, Walter Ray, you see the shoulder-high backswing, those eyes steady on the target, but look at the knee bend there because he's a taller guy, he's got to get down to the floor. 2 completely different styles, unusual, 2 completely different ball rolls.
Interesting breakdown, Randy. The 2 semifinal competitors here, the right to take on Pete Weber to win the 2006 Denny's World Championship here in Indy. The subject of this week's Dexter approach. Chance to cut the deficit to 12 pins. 6 frame for Ryan. We'll do it.
This guy is tough. Tough as nails. Again, I'll say it. I said it at the US Open. I'll say it again. Very underrated. He's one of the best players out here on this tour. And right now, with another strike, he'll pull to within 2 pins. And Walter Ray is going to start feeling this guy breathing down his neck.
Ryan's wife, Michelle, unable to attend the show today. She certainly wanted to, but she is taking care of her mom, Marge Johnson. Back home recovering from an illness. We send our best wishes out to Marge. A quick recovery.
Way too fast.
Just didn't. It was way light, wasn't it? And the 210.
As bad as the other one.
We've seen a lot of the 210, haven't we?
And, you know, it's really hard to see on the monitor, and that's what I'm watching, but this just looked fast. You see it get to that spot, just never come off of that spot. 210. Again, slide the 2 pin over into the 10 and try to stay within 14 pins of Walter Ray.
Can he make it this time?
Oh,
somehow, the 10 stands, and the deficit skyrockets because of the open frame. It went right around it, Randy. Incredible.
Yeah, it's an awful break, too. Right now, Walter Ray has things going in his direction. Can he close the deal and meet Pete Weber in the title match?
The question. Wow, 2 legends, titans of the sport, potentially go head-to-head in the final. Walter Ray does try to apply the knockout punch.
2 different lines to the pocket these players are using. Ryan Schaefer, the red line, Walter Ray, the blue line. See, Walter Ray's going much straighter, but watch the 2 balls come together at the break point down the lane. That's the friction zone that the ball starts to hook off of and face the 1-3 pocket. They're both using the same break point, just 2 different angles. Why 2 different angles, you ask, Dave?
Why 2 different angles, Randy?
Well, because Ryan Schaefer is a higher rev player. Walter Ray isn't. Walter Ray is a straighter guy. He goes straighter. Ryan Schaefer has to have a little more angle because of his rev rate. He's got a higher rev rate, more hook.
Walter Ray keeps it going. Something Ryan told us last night also about migrating to the right. He said the way he drilled the balls, his layout this week, and at one point he brought 11 different bowling balls out with him to try to get the right ball reaction as the lanes broke down. It was a move to the right some of his opponents were not doing. What do you see today with that?
Looks like he's playing further left than he wanted to.
Comes off the open 8 frame, down by 36 all of a sudden. And has all 10 down there.
You see how straight his angle is on that lane? The left lane must be curving more because his angle is a lot deeper on the left lane, and it's not what he wanted to do. The guys practice, they break the lanes down, they break the oil pattern down 15 minutes prior to the air, practice after the first semifinal. Oil goes through transition. Ryan Schafer has been forced to play deeper on the left lane than he wanted to.
Comes in high, gets a break as the 4 goes down. Ryan, the 06 U.S. Open runner-up, 2002 TOC runner-up, the same in 2000. Amazing. All those second-place finishes in majors. Trying to get that far today won't be easy as he acknowledges the break. Walter Ray trying to put him away.
Well, he just has to stay behind the foul line and keep the ball on the lane. Walter Ray will bowl Pete Weber for the title.
Wow.
Walter Ray just needs count. He's in the 230s right now. Ryan Schafer, the best he can shoot is 222. Walter Ray will keep this on the lane, will stay behind the foul line, and will bowl Pete Weber for the title.
It has been so frustrating for Paige, his wife, and Walter, being this close to Earl's record. He has the split there. In his matches going for the record, 1-6 on TV with a 210 average. He lost his first 4 TV matches. 1 at Akron a few weeks back. Just needs the 1 pin here to wrap it up. The loss to Chris Collins in the final. Takes the pin he needed, and he will advance to the final. Yeah, sigh of relief. Pete awaits in a matchup of 2 of the all-time greats of our sport. This is going to be fun to watch. So Ryan, who's come so close in his very formidable career to winning a major championship, will one more time fall short.
2 shots cost him this match, both on the same lane, both the exact same leaves. The 210 was the undoing of Ryan Schafer today.
Opens in the 3rd and 7th frames. And the pride of Elmira, New York, upstate, will once again not realize his dream of winning his first ever major championship. So the top 2 money winners in PBA history. 2 of the top 5 in career titles in PBA history will face each other for the 2006 Denny's PBA Tour World Championship title. It's all coming your way. Other state bowling teams, they are in attendance today as guests of Denny's. Pete and Walter Ray for the final coming up. But first, Erica Herskowitz has a special guest.
Dave, I'm here with Denny's Chief Marketing Officer, Margaret Jenkins, and this is Denny's first full year as the title sponsor of the PBA Tour. How would you evaluate the relationship between Denny's and the PBA Tour up to this point?
Well, Leslie, Denny's became interested in the PBA Tour because of what we saw that was happening with bowling. This is our first year underwriting the tour, and we just couldn't be happier with the way things have come together. Bowling is growing in interest across the United States. We're getting more young people interested, as evidenced by our Indiana State champions that are here today with us. So we're delighted and look forward to the next 2 years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dave, back to you.
Erica, Margaret, thanks so much. We have a dream matchup, folks. Don't even think about changing that channel. On the Denny's PBA Tour, the World Championship at stake. It's Pete Weber and Walter Ray Williams Jr., 2 legends, the Hall of Famers clash next. All-time, Walter Ray is 6-2 head-to-head with Pete Weber, including 3-0 in title matches, but Pete is 1 head-to-head with Walter in a major championship. Leading us to the Geico Championship recap, Mr. Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan. Semifinal number 1, Pete Weber, PDW. 10th frame needs 9, gets 9. Defeats Brad Angelo by the score of 227 to 214.
Right here in Indy.
Semifinal number 2. The great one, Walter Ray Williams Jr., 9th frame to seal the deal. Bingo! He defeats Ryan Schafer by the score of 224 to 201, setting up a great championship match.
Anytime.
For the 2006 Denny's World Championship. Now let's go down lane side with Erica and our 2 finalists.
All right, Randy. Well, Pete, you had to double in the 10th in the first match to secure the win. What do you think it's going to take against Walter Ray?
It's going to take 12 strikes to beat Walter today. He's bowling good, so it's just who throws more strikes.
Thank you. Walter Ray, a lot on the line today, tying Earl Anthony's record, another major championship. What do you think it's going to take to get it done?
I got to knock down more pins than Pete. He's bowling great. I'm going to go out there and throw the best shots I can and hope those pins cooperate again.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Back to you.
All right, Erica, the combatants are ready. Walter Ray tries to tie the record. We look at the head-to-head, as we mentioned coming out of the commercial break a moment ago. 3-0 in title matches. Last time the St. Clair Classic in '97. It's been a long time since they met with this much at stake. Dream matchup. Starts now. Looked like it might have the big 4 for a second there. Has a 4-7 instead.
A huge break here because you don't want to start the title match of a major championship with a big 4. Although we've seen Walter Ray make the big 4 on television. The only person to do that, but Walter would much rather just shoot the 4-7.
Old Denny takes care of it. Folks, we're bowling for $100,000, and to these 2 legends, certainly the money's important. But winning another major championship for Walter would be his 7th. It would be his 41st career title to tie Earl Anthony's all-time tour title record. That's, in our sport, as big as Barry Bonds' pursuit of Hank Aaron this year. The 755 homers. It is the all-time title record. This is a big moment.
And they continue.
4-season exemption. Pete goes for his 8th major.
And they continue on that lane.
Well, you know, Pete's the higher seed. He gets choice of finishing lanes. Right lane again, an issue. Pete decides to start the match on the right lane and finish on the left. I think the problem for Pete, though, is I think Walter Ray's got a pretty good look on the right lane, only because he's going much straighter.
All of those TV final appearances in major events. Wow, look at the names. Pete Weber, Walter Ray, Earl Anthony, Mike Albee, Mark Robb. Legends. That came in high, crossing over. Very lucky only to have the 10.
Okay.
Right now, this championship pair is starting to set up, to me, what looks like the best way to get to the pocket is by going as straight as you possibly can. The left lane looks like you have to get way in if you hook it at all. And the right lane looks really tight down the lane. Quite honestly, I think that is advantage Walter Ray.
His last major championship came February 8th, 2004. U.S. Open in Fountain Valley at the Convention Center. That was the arena final was held right next to Disneyland, Orange County. Been a while. Walter Ray. Also won his last major in '04. He wants another badly.
Walter Ray going to a different ball as we see our Ace Hardware matchup, Dave.
Look at the titles, folks. 72 combined, 13 majors, and a little bit of cash on the bottom line there.
Yeah, how about the cash flow, too, huh? Pete Weber, Walter Ray Williams Jr., all those titles, all those major championship victories, all that money.
Top 2 all-time in earnings. It sure does carry.
And the biggie, Walter Ray trying to tie the late, great Earl Anthony's record, 41 titles.
Walter has told us all season long, this is 3rd try of the year. And 7th overall to try to catch Earl. People at Pro-Ams will stop him. Come on, Walter, when are you going to do it? Or we're rooting you on, Walter. We're cheering for you so hard. He Answers them all while he's signing the autographs.
Wow.
He's got a split. Woof.
I finally get one out there and it hooks back. God.
4-7-9, unusual leave.
This is all from Pete leaving 2 pins and 2 8s on that right lane, trying to get the ball to hook just a little bit more down the lane and face up the pocket.
Tough one.
Wow!
Has it! That is a huge pickup on a split for PDW.
That's why he's won 32 titles. That's why he's won 7 majors. That's why he's one of the most feared players to ever roll a bowling ball down the lane.
Pete and Walter, in their matches leading up to the TV show, have taken to listening to iPods when they're not bowling. Pete told us today he's only got 80 songs on his iPod. Single pin 4 here, and his wife Tracy has helped him load up that iPod, but when he needs to really crank one up, sometimes on a spare or in that split a moment ago, he'll have the hard rock going. Try to get him really pumped up. You know, jack for the big moment. And if he's going to slow down his ball speed, change the rev rate, go from inside with a lot of hook, he'll listen to some softer rock. So that iPod helps him get in the mood. Well, he's in a championship mood here today. And down by 15 to Walter Ray Williams Jr. One achieves incredible history. The 2 legends. Great match continues next. Howard, the co-GMs of the Royal Pin Centers and Woodland Bowl hosting another PBA event. 23rd time Woodland has hosted a great event here.
And a special shout out to Nan McGinnis, recovering from bone marrow transplant in Seattle. That's Ken Howard. That's Ken Howard's girlfriend. He is the GM here. Ken has been a friend to the PBA and to us players for many, many years, and we wish Nan all the best. Right now, Walter Ray Williams Jr. looking to take a 25-pin lead on Pete Weber.
4th frame for Walter. Wow. Does just that. All 10 down to the pit.
He's got the carry factor on his side, too. Watch this. This isn't even flush. Watch all 10 go down. He's got the angle of the pocket. He went from 15 to 16 pounds recently. An extra pound of weight slapping those pins around.
Worked well for him. He seemed very confident when we met with him today before the TV show. Could this be the day, bowling fans, that Walter Ray ties the all-time record? Perhaps. He's got a big lead, and he's looking awfully good, and Page knows it.
Who do you think's more nervous, him or Page?
I think Page is.
Absolutely.
No question about that. Amazing fact also, the last ever title Earl Anthony won, the legend, came at the PBA National, Toledo, 1983, his 41st and final title. That event renamed the World Championship in 2002. Pete gets a break, too.
Wow, a strike on that lane. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, a strike on that lane.
Don't count this guy out just yet. Pete Weber gets lined up and look for him to make another adjustment on the left lane. He's gone high the last 2 times. He says, oh, finally a strike on that lane? Right now, he's got to string him from here on out. Oh, my.
Can you believe the 7-10?
Wow.
Tracy can't.
This is just not to be.
And Walter Ray talked to us about his breaks that he got this week, and it looks like apparently it's continuing.
Only been done 3 times on TV, will not be done again. Yes, stay rook, you're safe. 91 in Arizona. The last time on TV we saw a 7-10 successfully converted, and look at the lead balloon to 47 pins. Walter Ray looks here for the 5-bagger. Chance to go up 57. He's won a major at this very center.
Oh!
Almost did it. 7 pin.
Boy, that was a pretty good pitch, too, right there. Walter Ray keeping it in the 1-3, staying out of trouble. He's in the high 220s right now. The best Pete Weber can shoot is 223. Walter Ray Williams Jr.
if he spare strike all the way out, will win and tie Earl Anthony's record.
Perfect. Come on. A 46-year-old from Ocala, Florida, originally from California. His first ever title came in '83, the year Earl won his last. Walter now has 41 shy of Earl's incredible record. So many times we've seen him come so close. All these TV shows. This is 7th try to tie it. I think this is it, Randy. We're inching closer to history with Walter Ray Williams Jr. One shy of the record. Pete told us today he wanted to win today. He's thinking about winning 40 for his great career. Not impossible by any stretch. No help on number 10.
Whatever.
Today was the day that the oil pattern said, you know what? You can't do this. You can't hook it. You got to go straight.
Since his victory in Hammond.
Walter Ray, that's what he does best. He's done it forever. He can't hook it. He did hook it during match, portions of this tournament in qualifying match play. He went fairly straight for the most part. But man, when he can go straight, it's pretty tough to beat.
No doubt about that. Since the win in Hammond, Indiana near Chicago, and a 7th place finish in Mechanicsburg, PA. Albany, 10th place finish. Birmingham, 8th place, and West Virginia, 6th. So it's been a really nice run, for sure, for Pete this year. PBA.com, the official website of the Denny's PBA Tour. Your best source for all the latest PBA news and information. With just 2 events remaining this season, you can check PBA.com to track the players on the bubble for an exemption next season, and also watch live scoring during tournament competitions. All that and more, PBA.com. You can read about Walter Ray getting closer to the all-time tour record. Another big strike.
One more strike in this tournament is Walter Ray Williams Jr.'s. He will tie Earl's record. One more strike, 9th frame. This tournament is over.
Closes in on history. 10-pin.
Well, spare here, he's going to be in the 230s. All he has to do is keep it on the lane, convert here, keep it on the lane in the 10th frame, stay behind the foul line. Nothing Pete Weber can do.
Old Deadeye. True as usual, and Page cracks a smile with Brad Angelo's wife helping out in the celebration. Pete has a strike in the meantime.
It was just a matter of time, you know. It was like, well, when will Walter Ray ever do it? He's had so many chances. Will he ever do it? Today is the day.
Walter Ray waited a long time just to make TV. We saw him finally break through a few weeks back. Now 3 straight TV shows. Akron, Taylor, and again here.
Hey, let me just tell you how great Pete Weber bowled this week. You look at this match here, it was decided by a pocket 7-10 in the 6th frame and a couple of 10-pins. Pete could have easily had a 6 or 7 bagger.
Pete finishes up in style.
Congratulations, finally. Nice to see you get the monkey off the back.
Well, hang on now. He's got to keep it on the lane. He needs 6
pins. Do that. So many times Walter Ray has been asked about this very moment. When will you tie the record? Will it ever happen? How about right now, Walter Ray? There it is. Walter Ray Williams Jr. has tied Earl Anthony's all-time Denny's PBA Tour title record of 41. It happens today in Indianapolis. You just saw PBA history, folks. How about Walter Ray?
Unbelievable.
Everything went his way today. The oil pattern, the way it broke down, the breaks that he got when he went through the nose, not splitting. It was his day. It was meant to be.
He's finally done it. Number 41 belongs to Walter Ray. Ian Page have waited a long time for that celebration hug.
Thank you. Thank you.
After all those years, Earl Anthony, you got to share the record. Walter Ray has done it.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. Wow.
His 7th career major is one shy of Earl's record 8, but he has number 41. 7th try at a TV show to tie it, and Walter Ray makes history today in Indianapolis.
Unbelievable.
The Denny's World Championship is brought to you by Ace, the official hardware store of the PBA. Ace, the helpful place. By Dexter, where you can play with the pros. Enter to win at dextershoe.com. By Jackson Hewitt Tax Service. This year, let the tax experts at Jackson Hewitt help you get the biggest refund you deserve. And by Denny's, we're cooking now.
Here in Indianapolis, a 236-213 win in the final. Walter Ray Williams Jr. makes history on the Denny's PBA Tour's 41st title to tie Earl Anthony's all-time record. Joined now by Erica.
Walter Ray, it took you 7 tries to finally tie the all-time tour titles record. How does it feel to finally get that monkey off your back?
Well, actually, it took about 30 tournaments, but just things weren't working for me last year on TV, and this year I bowled a couple bad games. Fortunately for me, Pete had a little bad luck there. He bowled a great game after he got going there, but that 4-7-9 he picked up, and this rip 7-10. I mean, those 2 shots right there, he might have won the match. So I'm pretty fortunate to the breaks went my way. He bowled great all week, as did a bunch of other guys. It's unbelievable the way it came out.
This is your 7th major title. How would you best describe the feeling of being a major champion?
This is kind of unbelievable, and now I got 4 more years of this. Wow. Cool. Hey, Denny's. Yeah.
Congratulations. Dave, back to you.
Erica, thanks. What a moment for Paige Pennington, Walter's wife. 133 career TV victories, Randy, for Walter Ray, and hugs all around. Even to the folks from Denny's, our title sponsor. An unforgettable moment, really, to watch this history. You and I saw it unfold right before our eyes today.
Everything went his way. It was his day. Wow. The way the oil pattern changed and really allowed for what he does best, and that's to go straight. The bad breaks for Pete Weber, who bowled a phenomenal game. Now he's got 4 more years. This guy's going to be on tour until he's 50. Who knows? Maybe he'll break the record next week.
And maybe $100,000 plus the 4-season exemption. There you go. He's alongside the late, great Earl Anthony. Finally, 41 titles apiece. Mark Roth, Pete Weber, and Parker Bone III, still an excellent bowler on our tour, round out that great list. First ever major title for Walter Ray came at the '94 TPC in this very building. His 7th comes here as he ties the record. And he'll go, as Randy said, to break it next week near Grand Rapids, Michigan, the Great Lakes Classic. Check the start time, different than today, Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern here on ESPN. So congratulations go out to Walter Ray Williams Jr. Number 41 is finally his. He takes it in a great final over Pete Weber today from here in Indy. Next week, we're on from Grand Rapids. It's been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Now for the entire crew, live Partner Randy Peterson and Erica Herskowitz laying level with Dave Ryan saying so long, reminding you U.S. Figure Skating Championship is coming up next on ESPN. Walter Ray wins it